15 News at 11 starts now.
Now at 11, Congressman Paul Ryan is getting a major endorsement as he considers taking the top job in Congress.
Plus, a plane had to make an emergency landing due to what was happening inside between a passenger and a flight attendant.
And a unique brewery is opening its doors in Waunakee. We'll tell you what makes this one so different. Good morning, everyone. I'm Ashley Matthews.
And I'm Christine Belport. Just yet another beautiful day outside. This is so not October.
I know. We are getting so lucky, aren't we?
Well, we know what's coming, so I'm
I know.
truly fine with this setup.
We'll enjoy it while it lasts. Let's head on over to meteorologist Carlos Tucker to find out how long this will last.
Today's the last day, so I'm just going to throw it out there. The really warm, very non-October weather. Today is it, and then we're still going to have some pleasant conditions ahead, but for now, today's the last in the 70s. So here's a look downtown. Look at this on Capitol Square, the northeastern corner, a little bit of color, some of the leaves stripped off of some of those trees, but crisp, clear, blue, sunny skies. It's a nice one. However, just down to the south and west of us now, pushing across northeastern Iowa, comes a round of rain showers and possibly some thunderstorms. We expect those to show up a little later in the afternoon. So we're bringing in the cloud cover now. 66 degrees for the current temperature, but heading into the afternoon hours, even with the rain shower possibility, still looking for another high temperature in the low 70s. This will be day number 3 in a row of temperatures in the 70s, but it'll also be the end of it. So you'll want to stick around with the Complete Weather Authority forecast. I'll be talking about the cooling trend out ahead, how cool it'll get, and when we've got more chances for rainfall. That's in just a few minutes.
Okay, Carlos, thank you. Well, there could be some movement soon in Washington, D.C. in the search for a new Speaker of the House.
Republican Senator Paul Ryan agreed late last night to serve as Speaker, but only if his party can put disagreements aside and get behind him. NBC's Peter Alexander explains.
Running with reservations.
This is not a job I've ever wanted, I've ever sought.
Paul Ryan going public late Tuesday, shortly after meeting privately with House Republicans, tentatively agreeing to serve as Speaker if his divided party will unite behind him.
My greatest worry is the consequence of not stepping up. Of someday having my own kids ask me, when the stakes were so high, why didn't you do all you could do?
Among Ryan's demands, the married father of 3 making a point not related to the House, but to his home.
Last point is personal. I cannot and I will not give up my family time.
Tapped in 2012 as Mitt Romney's running mate, the 45-year-old Wisconsin congressman has long been seen as a rising Republican star. But after hearing him speak Tuesday, some conservatives remain unconvinced.
I didn't know what the event was tonight. If I knew it was a Paul Ryan rally for Speaker of the House, I wouldn't be here.
A taste of the gridlock and infighting that frustrated outgoing Speaker John Boehner.
Why should Ryan even consider taking this job after the treatment you received as House Speaker in this job?
Well, somebody has to have this job.
Paul Ryan setting Friday as the deadline for his party to decide if that somebody is him.
Now more than ever, we must work together.
And that was Peter Alexander reporting. Congress doesn't have much time to spare with serious deadlines looming to keep the government open and make sure the country pays its bills.
Meantime, current Speaker of the House John Boehner is moving quickly to find a replacement before he departs at the end of the month. Boehner announced the GOP leadership conference will meet next Wednesday and vote on a candidate to replace him. The full House will cast its vote the next day, Thursday, to elect a new Speaker. Wisconsin Representative, as you just heard, Paul Ryan is pursuing the leadership post with conditions and endorsement from the major caucuses of the House, including the Hardline Freedom Caucus.
Listen, I think Paul Ryan would make a great speaker, but this decision is up to the members. And I thought last night went very well, and hopefully by the end of the week we'll have a nominee.
But Boehner did say he is confident Ryan will have the support he needs going forward.
The state Senate passed a bill that would prohibit secret John Doe probes to investigate political crimes. They passed the bill at 1 this morning, with Democrats voting against it. Now, under this bill, politicians can only be subject of secret John Doe investigations if they're accused of murder, sexual assault, or other similar criminal acts. The Republican-authored bill would not allow probes into political corruption. It now goes to the full assembly.
Happening today, the man accused of murdering his mother in Sun Prairie will learn if he is competent to stand trial. 40-year-old Matthew Skalinsky has been charged in the September death of 68-year-old Jane Skalinsky. Prosecutors say he became upset with his mother after she found a box containing knives and a sword He is currently being held on $1 million bond. Also today, a man who raised roosters to fight in the town of Newark will learn his fate. 38-year-old Jorge Marquez was arrested last year after police found more than 60 roosters and 20 hens on his property. Police say the roosters were being trained to fight. Well, they also found 16 pounds of marijuana in a crawl space in his home.
And now to a crime tracker 15 alert. Madison police are looking for a man after an armed robbery. It happened just before 10 last night at the family video on Maple Grove Drive. The man showed a gun before demanding money and leaving the scene. Police say the suspect is a black male, last seen wearing a black hoodie, gray sweatpants, and a red bandana. The suspect got away with an unknown amount of cash. Milton High School continues to sanitize its building today after 2 students have confirmed cases of Cryptosporidium. It's a parasite that causes stomach flu symptoms. 20 other students are showing symptoms of the parasite as well. The first case was confirmed on Monday. The CDC says drinking water or recreational water is the most common way to spread the parasite. School officials say the source is not likely within the school, but they are taking those precautions.
Making news around the nation. A New York City police officer was killed in the line of duty. Authorities say 33-year-old officer Rudolph Holder was responding to reports of a man with a gun when Holder and another officer spotted the suspect. There was then an exchange of gunfire, and Officer Holder was struck in the head. The suspect was apprehended a short time later last night with a gunshot wound to the leg. Officer Holder, a 5-year NYPD veteran, died at a nearby hospital.
We're mourning a man who gave his life as a guardian for all of us. And we're humbled by Officer Randolph Holder's example, an example of service and courage and sacrifice.
He is the 4th New York City police officer who died in the line of duty in the last year.
An American Airlines flight from San Jose to Dallas was diverted to Phoenix because of an unruly passenger. It happened yesterday afternoon. Police say a 26-year-old passenger who appeared drunk and disruptive had to be restrained. One passenger says the unruly passenger had been threatening to flight attendants, making finger guns, and being belligerent. The flight had 96 passengers and 5 crew members on board. The development comes after 2 days after a Southwest flight from Los Angeles to San Francisco turned around for an emergency landing after a passenger was said to have choked a woman in front of him for reclining her seat. A Texas teen arrested over a homemade clock says it's time to change communities and countries. 14-year-old Ahmed Mohammed and his family are moving to Qatar, which borders Saudi Arabia. A foundation is footing the bill for his high school and college education there. Police in Texas arrested Mohammed last month after he brought a homemade clock to his high school, sparking fears it was a bomb. That move generated widespread support for the teen on social media, including an invitation to the White House. Mohammed was there Monday for Astronomy Night.
A unique brewery will soon open its doors in Waunakee. Octopi Brewing is the first world-class contract brewery in the Midwest. What that means? 90% of their capacity is dedicated to brewing contract beer for other breweries. 10% is their own house brand, Third Sign Brewing, which you'll see on shelves in the next few weeks. But you will have an opportunity to try out the beer before that.
Grand opening is here at the brewery at 1131 Unique Drive in Waunakee from 3 to 9 p.m. on Saturday, October 24th. We'll have food trucks in. We'll have, I hired a mobile DJ to play some blues rock. We'll be doing brewery tours and sampling out our first beers.
If you cannot make it to the grand opening, Octopi Brewery will have regular hours and tours, also beginning next week.
I wonder what kind of beer they offer. I don't know. We'll have to
see.
Research that a little bit. Maybe go taste test.
Reporter participation.
Exactly.